God Beard, what's up, fella?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Gotten any car accidents lately?
No, I haven't. No, I have not.
Somebody did point out yesterday.
That is too soon and very mean.
Somebody pointed out yesterday, the last time the Panther quarterback got into a car accident, they went to the Super Bowl the next year.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going around the last time this and last time that. I'm ready for this time. Let's get to this time.
I'm just guessing that's probably not happening this time. At least
No.
not this year. I mean,
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate, the final 20 minutes of hour number 3, an hour left to go after that. We'll talk to Peyton-ass Mario Herron from the BetQL Network about the NFL news from the last couple of days. It has been a very, very busy at 9:20. Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo. We'll talk boxing, MMA, and professional wrestling before we get to any of that, as we do every Thursday at 8:40 a.m. We take a short ride up the road to Charlotte, North Carolina, and talk to the host of the Panther Nation podcast, without a doubt, destination numero uno for all things silver and blue ball, the legendary Rashad Beard in the house like he is every Thursday. What up, big fella?
What's going on, guys? All is well here. All is well.
I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm glad to hear it. Let's jump right in and start with last week. It wasn't it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all.
No, not fun at all. It's about what I expected. It's what I called on this show. I called a nice little shellacking from the Washington Commanders, and that's exactly what happened. Don't got the guys on defense. Offensively, not good, especially when you're going up against a good Washington Commanders defense. Things look different when you go up against talent, and that's what we did. We went up against some talent on Sunday, and it wasn't very good. Not a good showing from Andy Dalton. Not a good showing from the offense. Not a good showing from the defense across the board. Outplayed, outcoached. We looked like we did not belong, and so it wasn't fun. I cut it off about the third quarter and then jumped back on as soon as I saw Bryce enter the game. So it's just not fun watching Panthers football right now.
We're going to come to BY here in a minute because obviously there was some news yesterday that Dave Canales brought to us. But let's start with you, Rashad. I'm curious about you. I know the mindset is we want to be competitive, we want to be improving, we want the upward trajectory, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, to all of those things. How do Sundays work for you when you've got the litany of injuries you guys have right now? When you know you've got a career backup as QB1. Listen, I respect Dalton coming out and getting the win against the Raiders, but there's a reason he's a backup for the Carolina Panthers right now. When you got all these things going on, how do you maintain sanity when you tune in for a Panther game on Sunday, knowing that the goal is be better for 2025?
Yeah, that's such a great – I'm glad you asked me that because that's a great question because it's not fun. And it's one thing I like to just not take for granted the game of football, right? Like I don't like when football is not being played, right? So over the summer, you don't have any football. So the fact that I have some sort of Panthers football, my team to watch, I do enjoy it. Unfortunately, the product on the field is not good, but I do like the fact that I have Panthers football to watch. So that's kind of where I am from a mental standpoint. But it's not fun seeing your team getting dog walked week in and week out. It's not fun. It's just not fun. And I'm hopeful that eventually we'll get things on the winning track sometime soon. But it's not fun to answer your question. Not fun at all.
It's to me, sometimes you got to move pardon the expression, you got to move the goalposts a little bit, right? Like sometimes you got to realize football's cyclical. There are just going to be seasons of your life where the Super Bowl ain't a reality. All right. And clearly this is it. And so in order to keep myself entertained, I got to have a new set of objectives, right? I know the Saints ain't going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to fist fight Dennis Allen on sight if I ever see his punk ass walking around. So for me, I came into the year with the objectives of maybe win the South, right? Be competitive, take down Atlanta twice. Like what are you doing to make that happen? Is it just like, do you have particular objectives? Are there things I want to see BY do this? I want to see Dave Canales do this? Or is it just a matter of I want to end every game on Sunday and be able to write down 3 things that we did okay?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have any expectations for this team, to be honest. I don't want to set myself up for any kind of failure because anytime I've done that, they have failed me miserably. So I don't have really any real measurable goals that I would like to see from this team. I do want to see the young guys, get better. I want to see Jonathan Brooks, right? I want to see what he looks like when he's healthy. I want to see Xavier Legette go out there and do work and put good work in. Jalen Coker, these young guys that are going to be around the team for a long time. I want to see those guys develop. Trevin Wallace, the draft class. We broke it down on our last show is that this draft class has a little bit to it. If you look past everything else in the wins and losses, this draft class is not bad. And it's something that we could potentially build on. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I would like to see Bryce in the year as the starter. I want to see whether he's going to be. Again, I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying people keep jumping on me every time I say I want to see Bryce Young. And I'm not saying that because I think he's the guy. I'm saying that because I want to see the guy. We brought in a QB whisperer, a guy that fixes quarterbacks. I want to see if he can actually get something from Bryce Young. This is the reason why you were hired. I want to see if Bryce Young, we traded all these resources to get him. I want to see if we can get something out of it, right? I'm not saying he's going to be the guy, but let's at least try to see if he can develop and show us something by the end of the year. So by then we can know whether to move on or not. So, but outside of that, that's really it. I don't have any expectations.
Speaking of Bryce Young, going to get the start. Andy Dalton in a car accident earlier this week, according to Dave Canales yesterday, sprained his thumb, meaning he will sit this week and BY gets back out there. I'm glad you said that, Rashad. And here's the thought that I had when you were answering that question. You brought in Canales to be the quarterback whisperer to develop Bryce Young. And there are a lot of folks out there, I'm sure there are some in the chat right now, that fully believe that Dave Canales at the end of this year is going to go to David Tepper and go, that's not my guy. This isn't the guy I want to work with. I want my guy, whether we got to draft him, trade for him, whatever, and that's all well and good. But I still think in order to show me that you were the right hire, you got to show me, even if he's not going to be your guy next year, you got to show me development of BY. Now that dude's been on the bench for 5 weeks, hadn't had that pressure on him, hadn't had people dropping macho man verbal elbows on him on social media all week or all month and a half long now. What's the expectation for BY this weekend?
I mean, it's tough, man. I feel bad for him. The shuffle, the in and out, the whether you're a guy or not the guy. Listen, don't turn the ball over. Be confident. Trust what's in front of you. Go out there and execute. We keep talking about we have good practices, and then you come out and we lay an egg. Just be you, Bryce. We've seen like glimpses of it. It hasn't been shown in the entire game. Just go out there and do you, man. The pressure's basically off, right? I mean, it's still there, but kind of not. Like you can go out there and be you, man. The expectation is that we're gonna move on anyway. So just go out there and ball out, bro. Like we've seen you do it in college. Just go out there and you have nothing else to lose at this point. Just go out there and make it happen. And that's really all I want to see from him.
Tell you what I saw on social media. And I don't know if you'll have any comment on it or not. You're welcome to. I was scrolling social media the last couple of days, really the last 24 hours since the Dalton accident. And there were a ton of Panther fans who were posting old clips of Bryce Young. I'm talking about BY from his Bama days. I'm talking about BY from, last year early in his Panthers tenure when my man was coming up into the locker room and he's hype and he's got energy and he's loud and he's yelling and he's talking or whatever. And a lot of Panthers fans were like, this is the cat I want to see again. This is the guy that can succeed. This is the guy I want to see start to break out a little bit. It almost felt like over the last 5 weeks, especially with how poorly last week went for the Panthers, Rashad Beard, that people are kind of warming back up to the idea of maybe Bryce Young is that guy. Maybe he can be him. Man, I can't help but personally, not as a guy who thinks he is or isn't the guy, but just personally, I really kind of want to see him ball out and just give us a glimpse of there he is. That's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice, man. We've seen, like I said, we've seen it, man. We've seen it from Bryce Young. We know what he's capable of. And like I said, I feel bad for him under the circumstances. You come in here, you got your first year coach is fired and all this other turmoil surrounding your play. And I just would like to see him go out there and play well, man. Like I said, the pressure's completely off. Go out there, do you. And, man, if you can get a dub, cool, but if not, man, at least get a W for yourself and your confidence, and that's what I'm looking for Bryce, man.
All right, so you're on the road, you're at Denver. This Denver team's real interesting because, and I think you and I have talked about this. Bo Nix looks a little better, and I gave him credit for being at the pro level. I really thought this dude was going to be an absolute flame out, playing well enough under Sean Payton. Denver's found some dudes in the defensive backfield that made throwing the ball against them a little bit dangerous. New Orleans found that out. We got embarrassed last Thursday night by this team. This is a better Denver Broncos team than we thought it were going to be. They're not going to be competing for the division or anything, but they can be dangerous if you make a couple of mistakes. To me, this feels like a game that I just want to see clean football from Carolina. I'm not even really worried about the score. Go execute, have your blocking scheme down, run crisp routes, give BY the best chance you can give him to succeed. And that's really the only thing I'm looking for on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Denver's a tough team, man. They're well coached. I mean, everybody has their opinions on Sean Payton, but he got has those guys willing to play. And I brought that up last week. When you talk about Denver and you look at how they're built, they had a new owner too that nobody's talking about, right? New ownership, new coach brought in, very similar to the Carolina Panthers, and you see the trajectories of both teams, right? This Denver team is competitive. Nobody's saying they're going to go out there and win the Super Bowl, but at least they're competitive week in and week out. And Denver is what I aspire for my team to be, right? I want my team to look like Denver, right? Nobody's saying Bo Nix is the man, he's the future MVP, but at least they got something to work with. And so, again, I just want us to go out there, execute, play good competitive football. Let's not get blown out, and let's make it a game, man. Again, that's where I've been all season, ever since Bryce got benched initially. Let's just go out there, be competitive. We got a little glimpse of it against the Raiders, won that game, and since this flamed out, let's get back on track, and let's get at least competitive again.
Yeah, I think to me this weekend, you're worried about the scoreboard. It's an NFL game. These boys got pride, all right? They got pride. They don't want to go out there and get dog walked for sure. But if I am, and Lonzo, when I had this conversation earlier, like fans look at the scores and the numbers and they just want to see it there. To me, I am at a point now where I'm looking at, I want to be able to come in here on Monday and write down 10 things that I saw and say, these 10 things definitely got better week to week. Because to me, I don't care about wins and losses the rest of this year. I care about, are we ready for 2025? And it sucks as a fan because that's an entire year of my life that I'm not getting what I want, but I got to make this year this team, if I'm in charge of it, is ready for next year because this year don't matter no more.
All right, what does Bryce Young have to do to keep the job if Andy Thumbs gets better? Because it's a sprained thumb. It's going to get better in another week or so.
Yeah.
What's he got to do to play the rest of the year?
Not turn the football over, number one. Protect the football, right? Not make the dumb interceptions, not the pick sixes. I mean, Andy is guilty of that too. But I think not turn the football over, get it to your playmakers, right? And I think it plays hand in hand. We're talking about what Bryce needs to do. I'll push back on that and say, what does Canales need to do to make sure Bryce is successful, right? Run the football. You got Chuba Hubbard. You're going to get Jonathan Brooks back. Let's get these guys going. Like, even with Andy Dalton at quarterback, we're still only running the football with Chuba Hubbard 18, 15 times per game. That's not enough. Run the football and protect Bryce Young from himself, essentially. And I think Bryce will be okay. I think, again, it works hand in hand. Canales has to also work with Bryce and protect him as well.
Rashad Beard, host of Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, head on over to the YouTube channel, Panther Nation podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn the bell on, because the boys are live all the time, even when you check in on Sunday for the reaction. And it just, you need me to send you some more glasses with a little darker lenses, Rashad, so people can't see the sadness in the eyes?
Yeah. It gets a little ugly on Sundays sometimes, so I apologize in advance. But the good news, though, and you talked about 2025. We will have mock draft Mondays coming back. So that's going to be a good look. It's going to be fun. We're turning the page, too, just like the Carolina Panthers should be. Hey,
I'll see you next up at the bank next weekend, right? Right? We still going to get together?
Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
I like it. Maybe a little 5-minute.
I might need more than one shot this go around.
Bro, I don't know if you watch my team. We got run out of our own house by the same team you play this weekend, my man. We might skip the game and just be watching it at a bar, because that's the only way we're getting through it at this point.
That's a very good point.
Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us every single Thursday at 8:40 to talk Panther football. We got Hayden Ask Mario for the BetQL Network next. Lonzo's Fight Club after that, after Lonzo's Sports Flash.
The NBA regular season saw a full slate of contests last night, including a 110-105 win over the Houston Rockets by the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball led all scorers in the game, recording 34 with 11 assists and 8 boards. Trey Mann added 24, 11, and 8. Off the bench, the Hornets start the season 1-0. One of the 11 remaining unbeaten teams in college football fell last night as winless Kennesaw State knocked off the Liberty Flames 27-24. The win is the first ever victory. Not even their own team shouts "Go Owls." The win is the first ever victory over an FBS team for the Owls and ends Liberty's 17-game win streak. It's the first time in 23 years a team 0-5 or worse has defeated a team 5-0 or better. Tune in tomorrow night 7 as Burns takes on Spartanburg right here on the Fan Upstate.